Often I am asked what is trauma, and there's not a specific definition as to what defines trauma. Each person can experience the same or similar events and have a completely different reaction to it. For example, if two people get into something such as a fender bender, and one person has car insurance and great supports and health insurance, and they can take off from work to have their vehicle fixed, this would be maybe more of a small t trauma. However, if another person gets into the same fender bender and does not have insurance, has no supports, and worries about losing their job by not having a car to get to work, this might be more of a big T trauma. So trauma in and of itself is not necessarily about the event. It's about both the risk and protective factors and how people can navigate these challenging times. This is not an exhaustive list of examples of traumatic life experiences. These are more things that people would think of as big T traumas: physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, domestic violence, witnessing it or being a party of it, neglect or abandonment, death of a parent or loved one, divorce, or family life that includes things such as homelessness, drug addiction, and incarceration. These are all examples of trauma. The NCTSN describes other types of trauma that people might go through, things such as bullying, community violence, complex trauma, which is different than single episode trauma. Single episode trauma is more along the lines of that fender bender we discussed, whereas complex trauma really talks to us about multiple traumatic events and repeated exposure to things. We also have disasters in this category: medical trauma, refugee trauma, terrorism and violence, and traumatic grief, which is different than grief and loss that we normally think of it. Traumatic grief is when people have ongoing difficulties that interfere with everyday life, and it makes it very difficult for them to recall positive emotions and memories of their loved ones. So I hope you enjoyed this little knowledge drop about what trauma is. Continue to join us as we post different videos, and subscribe to us so that way you're aware of when we do post different videos. Thanks so much.